If you grew up in Medford, Massachusetts, you probably knew him as Mr. Staggs. The rest of us called him Dad. He passed away on May 5th, 2026, surrounded by the family he spent his entire life building. He never met a problem he wouldn't try to fix, and he fixed most of them. The rest he just made interesting. For just about 50 years, he taught middle school and in the town he grew up in Medford, Massachusetts, which is to say he taught thousands of 12-year-olds how the world really works and then patiently reminded them the next day how it really works. To them, he was Mr. Staggs, and that's how they'll remember him decades later because you tend to remember someone who genuinely had an impact on your life. He worked harder than any man I knew. For years, he held three jobs at once to support his small family, and he never once mentioned the cost of it. He believed in showing up, and so he showed up for friends and neighbors or anyone who needed a hand or for family members who didn't even ask. He didn't keep any record of it. Instead, he helped because that was the man that he decided to be. He could build or fix anything, but the truth is the fix wasn't always pretty. There's still more than a few things in this world held together by his particular brand of handyman optimism, and they'll probably outlast all of us. But that was the rule. If he didn't know how to do something, he learned. He had an unquenchable desire for knowledge that 50 years in a classroom never came close to satisfying. He loved Matignon High School and Holy Cross, where he graduated in 1968. He loved the Red Sox, even when they made it hard, and the Patriots when they made it even harder. He loved new tools and his pets and pistachio ice cream and the beauty of a well-cut lawn. And he truly loved a dad joke, a bad dad joke, the kind that you couldn't help but laugh at because he just loved seeing people smile. He was brutally frugal in the way that only a man who put three kids through college can be. He could stretch a dollar until it screamed for mercy, and he taught his children that resourcefulness and dignity are the same thing, just wearing different clothes. And in a life that gave him plenty of reasons to complain, he never did, not once that any of us can remember. He saw himself as a man who'd been handed a beautiful family and a life where he could serve others, and that was enough. Paul is survived by the love of his life, his wife Nancy, and by the three kids, Kristen and me and my sister Amanda. A service is going to be held next week back in Medford, Massachusetts. And there'll be details all about that. But if you were one of his students, one of his neighbors, or one of the many people that he quietly helped over the years, just know that he built a life around other people. And the best way that you can honor him is to keep doing the same. That was my dad. And I love him. And he died yesterday. And he doesn't have to fight dementia anymore. And for those of you that have had a family member deal with dementia and have gone through that caring in that period, you know how awful it can be. We had the good fortune, if you want to call it that, of being able to be there every step of the way. He was never alone. He passed peacefully in his sleep. We were all there. And I couldn't have written Well, I probably could have written a better ending to a life, but to the particular life that he was given, it was as good as we could have hoped for. So, tonight, while I get this all under control, I wanted to talk about him just a little bit. And the funny thing is, I've been fine all day long, coordinating logistics and being with my family and a drive back to Maine. And I've been fine all day. It wasn't until I went live and started reading that this happened. It's okay. Not ashamed of it. But I needed to thank everybody. I put this picture up yesterday and very simply just let people know that he had reached the end of the journey. And I got hundreds of comments of the most incredible outpouring of love and support. And I couldn't possibly be more thankful or grateful. I figured this was easier to thank you all than to try to write everybody an individual note, because that's what you deserve. You took the time to comment. And it meant the world to us. And this coming on the heels of me sending an email last week asking for additional support, because in the weeks that I've been down in Massachusetts, my business has all but dried up. And with nothing on the books except for some things that had been booked, months ago, things are pretty dire. And this isn't any sort of pitch for me, but there's no place that I would have rather have been than by his side the whole time. So it's just been a lot. And I need to mention as well that during all of this, my cousin Carl, who is 5 years older than me, Carl Stagliano, was also killed last week in an automobile accident. He was my dad's nephew. He's my dad's godson. And that came as well. It's been a heavy couple of weeks. So I wanted to thank everybody for the incredible support and the love. And I didn't want anybody to think that by my unresponsiveness yesterday that it was in any way neglect, because it wasn't. Yesterday was overwhelming, as you can imagine. And today starts just a whole new chapter in our lives. But in the course of all of this, right, you have all these amazing memories and you get to look through old things. And like I said, the fortunate part of this is that I got to spend weeks by his side. He was relatively nonverbal the entire time, but we had conversations nonetheless, as you do. Held his hand and we talked about things. Said all the unsaid stuff. And that felt good. So I was going to show a couple of photos, if you'll indulge me, and just show you different parts of who he was. So back in 2018, my parents were whew, boy oh boy. Back in 2018, my parents had come up. I had just opened Stone Tree Creative, and they were celebrating their 50th wedding anniversary, which is just unbelievable to think about. That people are together for 50 years. So they came up and they did a photo shoot with my mom and my dad, and they had never had professional photos taken. And right towards the end, I was just like, hey, Dad, I want to get a picture of you. And we took this shot together. And I forgot about it until I was looking through the pictures yesterday. And I found this. And I can't wait to have it framed. Because he didn't get a chance to come up to Maine a whole lot. But when he did, I tried to maximize my time with him. Now, you knew my dad. He was never really raised around firearms at all. No, I don't think he had ever shot a gun until he came up to see me. And I got him out on the range, and I got him using my shotgun, my competition shotgun. And we were busting clays. And I don't know if you can see it, but way up in the left corner, right in that V of the notch of the trees, is the clay that he had shot out of the air. And he was so happy that he was able to do that. And he did it quick. He was a natural. It was a lot of fun. And I gave him one of my rifles, suppressed rifle, big scope. He loved it. Had such a great time learning how to do something new, having fun, being safe, learning about his son, hanging out. It was such a great day. And of course, he was always wearing some Holy Cross shirt, one or the other. And it was really funny because if you knew my dad, he was not a gun guy at all. At all. Lifelong teacher. And I think this is the only time that he was ever in this position. And we had the best time. I also took these shots of him when he came to visit me. Because, like I said, we were doing the shoot for my parents, and I was also trying to give him some updated pictures. If you knew my dad, he never wore a suit. He wore sweatshirts with dogs on it and dirty jeans and t-shirts and, you know, and so wearing a suit was a little bit foreign. He had one suit and it was a little bit ill-fitting because he kept losing weight as he got older, but we made the best of it. He was a handsome guy. And so I took him through my process and I showed him what I do with people. And he loved every second of being there. And I took him through what I do with all the guys in my studio. I wanted him to have pictures that were powerful. I wanted him to have photos that captured who he was, because he was extraordinarily kind and extraordinarily personable. But he also had a certain gravity about him and authority because he was an expert in everything. He never stopped learning. He never stopped teaching. And while this is the guy, this is the Mr. Staggs that everybody remembers, the smile, the laugh, the bright eyes, he also loved his pets. And this is one of the images of him walking with my dog Naima on the right, Kirby in the middle, Moxie on the left. And they were walking through my property, and the dogs followed him like he was the Pied Piper. They would not leave his side. He was just kind, and everybody knew that. This is the covered bridge here in Bethel, Maine. And as someone who is a handyman, a builder, an architecture nerd, and just someone that appreciated craftsmanship, I remember watching him walk down this bridge and just marvel at the fact that it was built in the 1800s and still standing and still strong. He probably would have used 10,000 mismatched screws to put this thing together that he had saved in a coffee can. But he was amazed at how this was all put together. And I loved seeing him in that childlike wonder. And this is him. This is the guy that when you call his name, he'd turn and look at you like this. And he had these transition lenses that just annoyed me, but they were him because he got so tired of carrying around additional glasses. He just got the sunglasses, the transition lenses, and that was him. Oh, they're awful, but he loved them, and he knew we laughed at it. But this is my dad. No one's ever seen this photo of him. I took this at that same session. And to me, it's instantly one of my favorite photos. He's so relaxed, so distinguished, so compassionate, so loving, so kind. I love you, Dad. It's tough going through all those photos, but god damn, I'm happy I have them. And there's a lot of photos that I've taken over the past couple of weeks that I don't feel like I can share right now, documenting the last few weeks of his life. We got to celebrate his 80th birthday. We didn't think he was going to make it to his 80th birthday, and he just kept surprising us. And we did throw a little bit of a party for him. We got him some big balloons, sang him happy birthday at midnight. This is last Wednesday. And he made it. So, like I said, I'm really happy I had these photos. And there's hundreds of others. Hundreds. I don't care if you go to a professional. I don't care if you take it with an iPhone or an old digital camera or film camera or a disposable camera. Get pictures of your relatives, please. Listen, you're never going to be younger than you are right now. You're never going to have less wrinkles. Very few of you will probably lose those 5 pounds you've been meaning to lose. There is, for most of us, no time when we're ready to be in front of the camera. Take the pictures. Take the pictures. I'm blessed with what I do because I can take a fine photo. But the bigger thing is just when you get to show someone how good they look, how happy they were. You associate the memories with that. And I'm choosing, rather than be super sad and spend the next few weeks missing this man in kind of a negative way, I get to go through all these photos and think about all the good things. And isn't that kind of the impact that we want to have on everyone's life? We want the people around us to feel good. So put your ego aside. Let people take pictures of you because they love you the way you are. I debated coming on here tonight. I didn't think I'd do this. 25 minutes ago, I was like, all right, going live. Had everything set up, was ready to go. And I'm sure that once this goes off and I'm not talking about it, I'll go right back to that. And while I'm sad about the passing of my father, I don't want people to feel empty when a loved one goes. Take the pictures, take the video. No matter how good, how bad, take the pictures. I'm looking at all the comments coming in. And there's a lot of beautiful stuff. God, here I go again. You guys writing good with the words. And I'm going to read these afterwards because I will not be able to get through them. I won't. But I'm reading them, I'm scanning through them, and guys, everybody that is here, can't get over how many of you are here. Thank you. Truly. So please, again, take the pictures. All right. There'll be more to come. I'm not going to dwell on this too much, meaning this isn't going to become the centerpiece of me for the rest of my life. I just wanted to make sure that I gave you all my appreciation, all my love. Thanked you. Let you know how grateful I am. And it put a lot of things in perspective, right? So last week, I'm sitting there with my dad, I'm watching him, and he's doing his breathing, mouth open, you know. Humor's going to get dark, by the way. But he was sitting there, and I'm working on my laptop. And I'm talking to him and sending out this letter asking you all for help. And I talked to him about the shame and the vulnerability and the, I can't believe I'm doing this. And God, I don't feel like a man and I haven't made it. I was like, how did you do it? How did you put 3 kids through college? How did you work 3, 4 jobs to support a family? How did you find time? I get tired getting up in the morning. This guy worked 3 jobs for as long as I can possibly remember. And I realized that while what I do for other people matters, nothing mattered in that moment more than being there with someone. Dad, mom, sister, friend, doesn't matter. The business stuff, trying to put out a book, trying to build a website, trying to do a podcast, trying to do all the things, right? None of that matters in the grand scheme of things, right? We're trying to make sense of this weird fucking life, and we put so much emphasis on the things that don't matter and forsake the things that do. And while, of course, we always get into these philosophical modes when we go through an event like this, I realize that no matter what happens, whether the business closes, whether it folds, whether I lose the studio, whether I put my camera on a shelf and never touch it again, doesn't matter. Everything's going to be fine. I've got people I love. I've got you, friends that are so wonderfully supportive. I don't know how to repay some of the kindness. A lot of you bought the book. You're never going to read it, and I know that. A lot of you bought the course. You're never going to watch it, and I know that. I hope you do. It's good stuff. But the fact that you did it in a way that supported me when I needed it, in a way that is keeping me alive, keeping the business alive, keeping my mortgage paid while I get back on my feet, I don't know how to repay that. I really don't. So I'm learning to just accept instead of having it have to have equivalent reciprocity. Just learning to accept it. So that's it. I was going to talk about other parts of the business and things that I'm doing with Generator, but I think I'll save that. I think I'll save that for Friday. So tonight, that's going to be it. No fanfare. No special stories. I'm going to keep some of those stories to myself. But I wish you knew him. Those of you that did knew what a special guy he was. I wish the rest of you could have known him. He was pretty cool. Nerdy with the worst dad jokes ever and all the sayings, right, that a 80-year-old guy would have. But damn if that man wasn't loved. And if I can aspire to that, get 10% of it, I'll be doing okay. So before I go, I am going to copy, if I can. Well, I don't know if I'll be able to, but I'll read the comments in the thread. Thank you all for being here. Thank you. I got nothing else. Hug your loved ones. Take the pictures. I love you all. Good night.